What's up, Ego Hackers? Welcome to the show. This is Typing Random People, where myself, C.S. Joseph, your favorite psychic, and my new friend here, Kiefer. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Yeah. So I was actually driving along 4th Street here like a few minutes ago. I saw this guy way down in the corner. He's got all his gear with him. He's a content creator like myself, and I'm like, dang, I got to talk to that guy. And somehow our paths just crossed anyway as I got all my gear because I'm out here trying to film and whatnot. And then, hey, here he is. So it's awesome to have him here, and we're doing it. So so you're a content creator.
Yes, sir.
And so what kind of content do you make?
I make rap. I'm in the process of making the photography, editing the footage.
That's amazing. So when you're rapping, is it? I mean, you do it all, right? The whole setup from start to finish.
I do. I had bear the burden of never reaching out from the start, so now I'm trying to reach out.
Oh, okay.
Try to, like you're saying, try to do less.
Try to do less. Yeah, doing more with less.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, like a lot of people when they talk about concepts like chastity, for example, they have like sexual overtones to it, but like chastity actually really is all about actually doing the best with what you have because it's what you have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All about that maximization.
So I'm now trying to implement that into my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to implement that. Like that's pretty amazing. Like so given that we're in Coeur d'Alene, like what are some of the challenges that you've had, with rap?
Definitely just being the tone and like the culture that I'm around. Being a native here is just that a lot of people around here. We have like Live After 5, a lot of shows where people generally like a lot of the rock. They like to go to work, see the shows, go home, drink a beer. That's about it. But a lot of people aren't really into like that hyphy, like rap and just whatever. And I'm not really even hyphy about it. I just kind of want to be kind of like your demeanor. I just really want to be my own and just create that content and just relate that passion and emotion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been doing my content now for about 5 years, and a lot of people have been, coming to me for, various assistance, with the psyche and whatnot, and try to get to know themselves and kind of like expand their soul, expand their spirit, into basically higher planes of existence as they're trying to reach cognitive integration, which is just a fancy term for enlightenment.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? Yeah, because, we're all just disjointed and we're trying to come together at the end. And that's kind of like the direction that I'm taking the content with it.
Sure.
I hope you are able to get some gigs in town and whatnot.
Not yet, really.
No? You're not ready for that?
I'm more so. Oh, I thought you asked if I have.
Okay.
I would like to, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you like to?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Well, after the show, we'll talk about that a little bit more.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
Because I know a few people in town.
Awesome.
So yeah, we could probably make arrangements. But
okay.
yeah. So, I'm a psychic, and I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing it since I'm 21 years old. I just kind of had an epiphany about things, and it just kind of led me down this path. And in my opinion, and it's not a humble opinion, so fair warning, I'm kind of like the best at what I do, so just kind of like digging down into people's souls and just kind of seeing how they work,
Yeah, I respect the confidence.
Yeah, it's all it's about. So I will now do your reading. How about that? Cool.
Sounds good.
Now the kind of reading that I do has nothing to do with like auras and all that, fancy voodoo crap. That's not me, but I'll explain all that at the end. All right. So Mr. Kiefer here, right? He's like a total badass. He's like doing, rap and whatnot, and that's amazing. So Kiefer also, well, guess what? This man knows exactly what he wants. The difference is that he doesn't exactly know where to start. He's really good at finishing things, but he's not really good at starting things, right? He absolutely knows how everybody else feels, including social norms. And he's always constantly trying to care for other people. The problem is that he has a hard time caring for himself in the process.
Very true.
Oftentimes dealing with feelings of worthlessness and uselessness.
Very true.
Which really, really can be a very difficult thing. But he is extremely intelligent, very logical. In fact, you have the best form of logic. It's like the purest form of logic. If this, then that. If this, and that. Where you can actually, if you spend enough time and enough practice, you can figure your way out through almost any problem. It's just as long as you don't stop. The problem is, though, is that when you know that you do that, you start feeling like a machine.
Yeah.
Like you're inhuman to a point, which can be really frustrating. To go even deeper than that, you have this thing about you where you got performance anxiety. You are afraid of failure. You are afraid of doing a bad job. You are afraid of giving people a negative experience. However, because you have that fear, you actually have the opportunity to turn that into something even more. You can actually aspire with that on a regular basis, like such that no one can actually outperform you. This is why when meeting you, I'm just like, oh my God, this guy, he's going rap. I love rap. I want to be there as his audience member for his gigs in town. I got to experience this. I need this because I know this man is going to aspire and absolutely outperform everybody else. Now, however, your worry, let's talk about your worry. You're kind of worried that people, after they kind of get to know you, after they stick around a little bit, then they're going to choose that they're not going to want you anymore. That they're just going to betray you, even after you've contributed so much to them, even though you've been there for them consistently, because you've gone out of your way to create a bond. The problem is that in your life you have this issue where you make attachments. Attachments is when you attach to people, and it's a one-way street from you to others. But what you really want the most are bonds. Bonds are everything. Bonds are two-way streets, because then you feel like you belong, and you know that those people belong to you. They're part of your crew. You know what I'm saying? Your wolf pack, right?
Absolutely.
That is like definitely your peeps. And no matter how bad you fail, they're always going to stick around for you, no matter what. That's the best part, man. Like, that's one of the greatest things about people like you, is that it's just like you're able to create these bonds super quickly, and these bonds are actually really, really deep rooted. However, when those bonds break, were they really bonds or were they actually attachment? Because attachment's kind of unhealthy, right? So we got to try to be as detached as possible. And you actually strike me as someone who is naturally detached. However, when people get really, really close to you, you allow the attachment in hopes of getting a bond. I recommend that you avoid doing that and just don't do any attachment at all, and just really emphasize the bond where it is a two-way street. This is why sometimes you got to test people.
That.
Yeah, push people away a little bit to see if they come back to you. It's called a loyalty check. It's not a bad thing.
I see where you say that a lot too, where you say that in that sense, because I do tend to, it's almost like a kid going like looking for a dad or looking for a mom and going like, just notice me.
Yeah,
and then being like, when someone does notice you for 30 seconds, and then they play the, oh, well, I gotta go. And then you're like, well, but I thought you just noticed me.
Yeah.
No, what? And then it's it's almost like crack.
Yeah, exactly.
Sugar, whatever.
It's because the thing that you really, really love the most is attention. You thrive by attention. You live and die by attention. It's so important.
And in honesty, for that thing right there, for that attention and stuff, it's because I literally did grow up with like divorced parents, and then I did have that, like you're saying, that anxiety, competitive anxiety, for endurance anxiety.
Yeah.
I do have that literally for physicality. Like playing sports all my life, and the doctor was like, you literally have endurance anxiety because of it. And he's like, so your anxiety and he's like, you don't need an inhaler or nothing, but you're going to have that through when you perform to an extent. He's like, you're going to have to back it down. He's like, you don't have to find out a way to fluctuate that. And then when it comes into play with, like, I'm epileptic, so then when I have seizures, I had to like figure that out through life as well, and that's a hard thing to explain to people. With now I have permanent damage in my spine, so a lot of people, when they tell me that they can't do certain things, I'm like, really? I'm like, you see what I'm doing out here? I'm still doing everything. I'm backpacking like other people's emotions. I'm backpacking other people's like stuff by myself, and I'm like,
by yourself, man. I totally get it. But here's the thing, man. Like, you're very critical towards your own self-worth. You have a hard time with your own self-acceptance, and that can actually lead to you alienating other people if you're not careful. You got to get to a point in your life where you just accept yourself unconditionally for yourself. And then as a result of that, you actually find yourself in a position where, because you are helping yourself, because you're aware of yourself, and you actually, don't feel disassociated with your body, you don't feel disassociated with your identity, basically, at that point, you'll actually be able to help other people be in tune with their body as well as be in tune with their identity. Because you're all about identity. You're all about character. You're all about
the looks, the flash, the design.
You gotta improve other people's character by being an example of character and integrity. Because for you, integrity is everything. The problem is that sometimes you get like losers in your life, and then you mirror those losers, and then you become like them, and that's how you get corrupted. If you want to maintain purity and integrity, you got to cut the losers out of your life. You got to get them out of there, because you'll mirror those people. You need people that are mega healthy, people who are loyal, people who have the highest character, so you can mirror them, and then you're taking in their high character, and then you're bringing something even more to the table, because even better character than before.
And I'm really glad you said that, because literally you just walking up to me. Normally, like you're saying, disassociating and stuff. Normally, someone just approaching me like that while I'm in the middle of doing what I'm doing, that endurance and that, I'd be like, hey, I don't know, you get away from me. But like your demeanor and your presence, I was like, whoa, it's the energy and the awareness of just energy and being spiritual in that sense. The way you approached me, I was like, I'm going to listen to this guy. And then when you started talking to me, I was like, yeah, I do want to talk to you. Yeah, and you're like, I'm a psychic. I was like, I'm interested in this. And then when you started just coming to me with what you were bringing to me, I was like, wow, he knows me. He doesn't know me, but he knows me. And I was like, wow, that's exactly who I wanted to talk to.
Yeah.
That's great. And you're absolutely right. And so that is exactly why I accepted your presence coming toward me, as well as because I am trying to make those changes right now in life. Literally, I have some friends that I grew up with from birth, right? And like straight up, and they're still like texting me like yesterday. Like, how are you doing? You want to hang out? But they want me to smoke. They want me to like stay up late. And I'm like, I quit smoking weeks ago.
Corruption, man. You gotta keep that corruption back.
Yeah, and I keep telling them, I'm like, I quit smoking weeks ago. You guys gotta leave me alone. I'm like, I'm in the gym every day. I'm trying to eat healthier.
I was in the gym this morning.
Yeah, yesterday for me, but my body's exhausted. But excuse right there. But so it's.
I don't know. That's another aspect about you, man. Because like,
I'm being hard on myself.
Oh well, yeah, because you neglect yourself. It's like even to the point where you don't get much sleep. You don't get much sleep at all. It's one of your biggest problems. Like you need to get way more sleep. This is one of the reasons why you, over time, as you get older, you're going to end up being like some of the more most unhealthiest person like out there, because you don't sleep. And I get it. You're just there at night, and you're like, well, I don't want to go to bed. I don't want to go to sleep. I don't want to do this.
At night, my brain's crazy.
Because it's your choice, and it's your brain is crazy. But you've got to come up with some rituals, man. You got to come up with some rituals to try to bring it down. You have to be making the active choice and not be passive about it anymore. Right. I get that you're young now, and that's great, but the day's going to come where you're not always going to be that way. And if you don't have that ritualistic mindset, especially when it comes down to sleep or Zen or serenity in your life, you're really setting yourself up for a really bad health future later. And I'm really concerned about that.
Yeah,
gotta watch out for that.
Honestly, so am I. That's what I'm saying. I'm really trying. I'm trying super hard to zone in on that, which is what I mean by when you approach me is I'm like, I need people like you in my life. I'm like, it's on me.
Yeah.
But I need to get that negative people out of my life, and I need to be in the gym more. I need to be writing down, like planning my week, planning my month, and taking those steps, and then getting more sleep and eating better and set myself up for success, not for failure.
So if I may actually, I think there might actually be a way, something that you could do that would guarantee your success. And so this is based on one of your main weaknesses. You are completely unaware of what other people are thinking because you're so busy thinking about what you're thinking, that what other people thinking just doesn't really occur to you. That's not a bad thing. It actually can be very good. But here's the difference. When you are in your life and you're like successful at something, you need to spend the time to like pull open a notepad or maybe your phone, like Apple Notes on your phone, if you got an iPhone, and literally write down, okay, I had a success today at this date and this time, and then actually write down the steps that you took to get that success and keep track of that over time. This will allow you to create standard operating procedures, which will then turn into those rituals that I was telling you about. That way, you never actually have to be worried about failure because you're actually spending the time to keep track of the successes that you have in your life. And then by tracking that success, you're able to actually develop step-by-step procedures or systems, right? And you can follow the systems for guaranteed success every time. Because if you don't do that, you're so hyper aware of what everyone is getting out of each situation. You know what I'm saying?
My hyper focus is immediate.
Yeah.
And it's insane. And the doctor literally is like, you literally have an insane problem with not being able to relax. He's like, I've taken you to the massage therapist.
It's the opposite of the ADHD, man.
Yeah,
you're too focused.
Yeah, he's like,
you're the sniper rifle.
Literally, yeah. He's like, I've put you in the massage therapist. I've taken you to physical therapy. He's like, they can only do so much. He's like, you have to allow it. And he's like, and you will not allow it. I'm in the gym, like lighter weight, more repetitions, heavier weight, less repetition, and it doesn't matter. Like, I'm like trying to focus on like, but then it's just me going like, I'm like challenging myself to relax. And then I'm like, well, that's a double-edged sword, because then I'm being hard on myself trying to relax. And I'm like, how am I, it's that hyper focus and I'm trying to not I'm like, how do I escape that?
I had the opportunity to help out an Olympic athlete who's very similar to you. And she's actually going to be in the Summer Olympics this next summer in 2024. Now, one of the things that she just needed to know, and she's very similar to you, is that she just had to stop looking at everybody else. And she only had to look at herself and just make sure that every single passing day that there was a slight improvement from the previous day. And as long as you focus on just that concept, you will rise above everybody else. If you look at everybody else, it's actually going to slow your growth. Look at other rappers, look at other, I don't know if you like basketball, but like, for example, looking at other ballers, for example, you're going to stunt your own growth. If you want to stay on the highest growth trajectory, you want to make sure that you're comparing yourself to yourself, not anybody else. And I promise you, and it is a guarantee, you will have an extremely successful life in every single area of which you compare yourself to yourself. That's like the number one piece of advice I could ever give you. Seriously.
And I think it's that I've been, like I was saying, I've been trying to implement that recently. It's just realizing that on certain days, like when I am really tired, like today or other days, it's like I'm going, okay, well, I still have to get this done. And I met up with a friend the other day who's into Jesus really big, right? That's his thing. And so for him,
I am a biblical scholar, but I refuse to be a part of the church.
Right, and that's what he says too. He's like, I refuse to be a part of the church. And I'm like, but I wanted his context and his opinion on his angle of where he's coming from. And so when we explain our stories and backgrounds and we get into it, basically he said the same thing about me relaxing and like the whole comparing myself to myself thing and whatever. And when we get into it, then he's like, you see how every time I bring it up and then your response is what you have to do or what you need to do. He's like, nobody needs to or has to do anything. He's like, I mean, maybe you could. He's like, maybe you should. I don't know. He's like, but I just kind of ended up here. I kind of got here because I just decided to do less, and less is more, and that 1% every day. And he's like, dude, once you just slow down and take it easy, he's like, and you figure out to just let that happen, he's like, it will happen.
You know how people talk about active listening, right?
Yeah.
It's more like, it's like active presence, you know what I mean? Or active thinking, or it's intentional thinking. And not just you're basically not allowing yourself to be distracted from things outside of yourself, you know what I'm saying? Because that's really what you need for yourself.
It's obvious, too, for myself, because even when I go to the gym, when I'm walking around out here, it's like just the birds chirping, the wind. I'm like,
I know, right?
And I'm like, focus.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and even with focus doesn't mean like drain yourself. It just means like focus on your inner peace. Like but I'm trying. It's so hard. And I'm like, how do I?
You also remind me of David Data, the author of The Way of the Superior Man. I recommend you check out that book. I bet you'd learn something.
David who?
David Data.
David
Data. Yeah, DEIDA. Fantastic fellow. The Way of the Superior Man. You just remind me of that guy. You also remind me of, who's that singer? It's a lot of them. That redheaded singer.
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah. Ed Sheeran. Hardcore. Yeah. Yep. You and him are very similar. Got similar energy, similar vibe, for sure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we're just about at the end of our show here. So, all right, let's see here. Do I got it? Oh, yeah. I'm going to give you my card right here. So I do have to be honest. I did kind of deceive you a little bit, so I apologize in advance. But I'm not actually a psychic. I'm actually a cutting-edge psychologist.
That's okay.
Actually.
See, and I told you, I figured that's what was happening here, but that's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, that's my card. Go ahead and reach out anytime. Definitely maybe be on the show in the future for other related things. But what I talk about is called Jungian analytical psychology, also known as four sides dynamics, talking about the four sides of the mind: ego, subconscious, unconscious, superego, basically. Sure. And your archetype is known as the paladin. They know everything that they want. They know how other people feel. They know exactly what they think. They are trying to be the best performer forever because they're afraid of performing badly. They're worried that other people will betray them. They're very hard on themselves. They are not aware of what other people think, and they neglect themselves in the process. The one thing they want the most in life are bonds and connection, more than anything, right? Yep. And having a sense of belonging, but also facilitating and creating the sense of belonging for other people, and having your wolf pack.
And that biggest clutch there, that's kind of a weird double-edged sword, is even though you want a sense of a belonging and a place to be, it's like, you know, you're not bound anywhere. Like, you want to be able to be anywhere. Yeah. But you don't want anyone to feel like that you don't want them to not be a part of it. Like family, it's like a biggest thing about music is like having that like foresight, like future, whatever, and being like, okay, well, I could go and travel anywhere, but how's my family going to feel? How are these people always being worried about the others? And it's like, when it's like, you shouldn't. You should just do. And just
do. Yeah. So for the audience, how could these folks reach you on Instagram if they want to get more familiar with your work?
You guys can definitely reach me at KDM_Ajestic Flow. All right. And that's my Insta.
Dope. All right. And mine's at cs.joseph. So you find that pretty simple. But well, thanks for being on the show. Seriously. It was excellent. Absolutely. And hopefully we can hang out some more in the near future, for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you, and for your fans as well, that I am seeing a psych right now, and you are definitely way better than my psych. Like, you found me, picked me out of the crowd. My psych, I had to go in and explain that I'm seeing my neurologist, my other doctor counseling, and she's having a hard time just keeping up with me and keeping up with like trying to prescribe me medicine and whatnot. This dude finds me out of the crowd, and it's just like, let's just do a reading.
Let's just do it, man. And it was fun.
I didn't tell him anything, and he just straight up tells me, this is how I believe you are and how you act and everything. Yeah, absolutely, and you're right. And that's exactly what I'm working on. So I appreciate everything.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. All right, folks, thanks for watching and listening. I'll see you guys in the next episode.